I'm gonna show you how last year I lost $534,000 with the infinite banking concept. Specifically with the policies that the infinite banking concept uses. The policies are specially designed and engineered whole life. So today in this video, I'm gonna walk you through something that not a lot of other people want you to know. Specifically, financial advisors, life insurance agents, they do not want you to know what I'm about to show you because they don't want to lose $534,000. So to talk about this, let's first talk about two things. Number one, the infinite banking concept. Maybe you've heard about it and maybe you even have the misconception that most people do about what it is. You probably think the infinite banking concept is a whole life insurance policy. It is not. The infinite banking concept, by definition, is you taking back the banking functions of your life. So the whole life insurance policy, specifically a specially designed and engineered whole life policy, which I'm going to explain, all we use that for is to run our money through it. That is it. It is the machine that we use to fund the infinite banking concept, the process. These are important points because if you think the infinite banking concept is a product, you've got it all wrong. And your advisor, your agent, your broke-ass brother-in-law probably have it all wrong because once you tell them, hey, I want you to help me with this infinite banking concept, the first thing that goes to their mind is, oh, yes, I get to sell a whole life insurance product. They don't even understand that the infinite banking concept is a process, not a product, but the product is where they make money. But then you got to tell them, whoa, hold on a second there, brother-in-law. You, buddy, have to give so I can get. Let me repeat that. Your brother-in-law has to give so that you can get. He has to give up to 90% of his commission to you so that you have 90% more of your money to use. Because who do you want to have the money? You want your brother-in-law? You want me to have 90% more money than you? Or do you want to flip that and you have 90% more money to use for the infinite banking concept than I or your brother-in-law get paid in a commission? I heard you know the answer. You want the money. Because for the infinite banking concept to work, someone has to give so that you can get. So that is how last year I gave up $534,000 in commissions so that you and all of our clients, over 6,000 in this country, have 90% more money. My name's Chris Naugle and this is What Now, What's Next. Let's dive in. At this point, everybody that watches this video probably has played the game Monopoly. It's a board game. You always start at go. I don't care what person you are. Maybe you're the car, maybe you're one of the other little metal characters or whatever version you have. The goal of Monopoly is to go around the board, avoid jail, and end up back at go. And along the way, while you were going around the board, your objection was to pick up opportunities. Buy the property, put some houses on it, they were rentals, buy some apartment buildings and make money. And what happened every single time you went around the board and you passed go? You collected $200. You remember that? That's the infinite banking concept. The board going around it, think of that as a circle. The infinite banking concept is one circle. Go is your specially designed and engineered whole life. That's where your money starts. And then it goes around the board, and over here, the opportunities where the money is used could be real estate, could be lending, could be paying off debt, could be financing your cars, taking back the banking functions in your life. Instead of using someone else's bank, you use your bank. Your bank is a specially designed whole life. And then as it comes back around the other part of the circle and ends up back in the policy and you start the next year, what is the $200 that you get in Monopoly with a whole life? It's the dividend. Every year, the insurance company pays you a dividend, which, as Dave Ramsey so eloquently put it and made it seem like it was a bad thing, said, is a return of unused premiums. Exactly. That makes it tax-free. That makes insurance companies and all the people that understand that really smart, and the only one who we're laughing at is Dave Ramsey, who doesn't think that that's smart. Try to understand that there is more to learn and understand that not all whole life is the same. Kind of like cars. A Ford Focus, sweet car, right? You walk into the Ford dealership with your significant other and you say, honey, look at the Ford Focus. That's the baddest car in this place. I gotta have one of those. Your significant other would look at you being like, I didn't feed you enough today. Ford Focus isn't really a sexy car. Sure, it's good on gas. Sure, it's a great starter car. Sure, the payment's low because it's an inexpensive car. But then you, who is super excited about that Ford Focus, sit down at your computer and you watch a video of Ken Block going 130 miles an hour sideways in none other than a modified, specially designed and engineered Ford Focus. They made it a rally car. Is that Ford Focus the same as the one you saw in the dealership you got super excited about? It is. That one Ken Block drove was specially designed and engineered. You see, they're not all the same. They can be designed to do different things different ways, which is where I want to come into the explanation of the product. So the way I thought I would do this is by showing you one of my 9 specially designed and engineered policies to show you how I've designed this. And as you can see right behind me, my policy, I put $30,000 in per year. You don't have to do that much or you can do a lot more. This is just one of my 9. The way we design these, unlike a regular whole life, is not around a death benefit. Matter of fact, we're gonna put the lowest death benefit on, which is why I said earlier, that's how you lose money as an advisor or agent. You put the lowest death benefit on. The fees and the commissions are all on the death benefit. So we don't want a lot of death benefit. We want a lot of cash. We want a lot of cash value so that you can use it. Well, I do too. So that's the way I designed it. I put $30,000 into that policy per year, okay? And that $30,000 in the first year when I was 44, this is a little over a year old, this is about a 2-year-old policy, I had access, if you look right here, to $27,534. Now I want to preface that real quick. I put in $30,000, and in that first year after I got my dividend, I would have had $27,534. That's over 90% of my money available to me. There is not a regular whole life out there that can do this. Why? Because they're not designed to. Matter of fact, most whole lives that your brother-in-law or your agent or advisor will design for you, if they don't know how to do this, most of them will have 0 money in the first year. How about the second year? 0. So you cannot use a regular whole life to do what we're about to go into, and you certainly can't use one of those IUL, indexed universal lives. They don't work for the infinite banking concept, never have, never will, end of discussion. I have other YouTube videos that explain why. So let's just get back to why this policy, my policy, has that much cash available immediately. It's because I designed it that way. In the design, we have to understand some basic terminology. We have to understand base, we have to understand PUAs, or paid up addition riders, and we have to understand that the death benefit is not what we focus on. We put the lowest death benefit on the policy. The lowest death benefit within the IRS rules called the MEC 7 pay rule. Don't get too concerned about that. If we design your policy, which we'd be happy to, because that's what we do well, we will not have to worry about your policy being a MEC because we follow the IRS rules. So what is the base? Well, the base is exactly what your regular agent or your brother-in-law will put all the money in. A normal whole life, the base would be 100% of your premiums that you put into the policy. The way this policy was designed will have significantly less base because the base is where the costs go. So this particular policy is a special design that has roughly 40% of the premium deposit going to base. But we also design a lot of policies that have 10% of your premium deposits, the $30,000, going to the base. So I just want you to understand there's not just one way to design and engineer these. It's designed and engineered around your needs and goals. My needs and goals for this particular policy, to have $27,534, I put 40% to the base. Now, where did the rest of the money go? Well, the rest of the money went to what they call a paid up additions rider. Again, Not something you really need to understand, but something that we need to understand. Because any money that goes into the paid up additions rider is going to be money that you're going to have access to immediately. This policy and any policy we design, you will have access to a portion of your cash value between 60 to 90%, as you see, immediately in the first 30 days. That's right. Not after the first year, not what your advisor and agent said, oh, there's no policy, there's no whole life policy that has money until the third year or the second year. Wrong. Mine had money available immediately in the first 30 days. And I'll show you exactly how I used this policy when I took it out in just a moment. But let's get back to what is this paid up additions rider? Different insurance companies call it different things, but what it is it's a rider that allows us to take some of our premium and put it in a different place where it's not all going to death benefit. In other words, that different place is that money goes to the general account of the insurance company, where we earn interest and dividends on that money. And also where we have access and control to use that money anytime we want. Doesn't that sound a lot better than having no access and no liquidity of your money if we put it all to base? That's right, if we put it to the paid up additions rider, we're gonna have access to a high percentage of that money. How much? Anywhere between, and it's company by company, but 88% to as much as 94% of whatever goes into the paid up additions rider. Now that's way better. And that's how I put $30,000 in and had access to over 90% of that money being $27,534. Now, in doing that, there's a trade-off. So let's talk about that. The commissions on the base for most whole life policies is 55%. So if you did this with a regular whole life, I want to tell you why Dave Ramsey says that whole life is just a high commission thing where the agent makes all the money, and he's not wrong. If I put 30 grand into a regular whole life, and I did the math, a normal whole life, if all the money's put to base, will give you 55% in commission. So 30,000 times 55, that would be a $16,500 commission that the agent would get. But we're not putting all of it into the base. We're putting the majority into the PUAs. Now, the way that this one's designed, even though it's 40%, the way I get paid is as if I put 10% to the base. So this policy, just so you know, 30,000, I put 10%, okay, that's $3,000 that would have been put basically into the base, and I get paid 55%, $1,650. So one was $16,500 in commission. This one, if it was a 10% to base, $1,650. Now, that's a big reduction in commission. And just to prove that, I'm going to show you a commission statement to show you exactly how much money I got paid in commission on this. Fair enough? Because hey, it's one thing for me to tell you, it's another thing for me to prove it and show you, which I will do in just a little bit. But let's come down here to the paid up addition. The paid up additions rider, any money that goes into it, whether it's 90% or 60%, because remember, we're going to design this, and I very rarely put money into the 1090s. In the long run, the 1090 is going to be one of the least efficient, and the 60/40 is going to have a little bit more efficiency later. But this design, I was able to put 40% to the base, but only get paid like I was putting 10% in. Again, I'm not trying to complicate you. I'm just trying to explain that this is not a normal whole life. It is very different. Any money that I put into the paid up additions, let's just use 90% of 30,000. So 30,000 times 90% is $27,000 of that 30,000. Do you see anything familiar there? 27,000, and after I get paid my dividend in the first year, 27,534. Now, just as a disclaimer, dividends are not guaranteed, but this company right here that I use has paid dividends every single year for more than 160 years, never missing one. But I just wanted to make sure I put that disclaimer in here. 27,000 is the amount of money I'm going to put into the paid up additions. Now, the insurance company does pay us, but they pay us 2%. Okay, so 27,000 times 0.02, $540. $540 is what I make. So if we do the math, $1,650, give or take a buck or two, plus 540, my commission on this policy with $30,000 in premium is $2,000 $730. But I don't get all that because this is a grid, but let's just call that the gross commission. Now, if this was the other one, remember the agent got $16,500. So remember earlier I said how I lost $534,000? I just gave you the magic. By designing the policy the way I just explained, you, the client, the person that I build the policy for, have access to all of that money. It was almost dollar for dollar, wasn't it? So now are you starting to understand this? But let's keep going. To do this, it required me to put significantly less death benefit on the policy. My death benefit on this policy is $765,367. Now I'm a healthy, at that time, 44-year-old. If I put all $30,000 into a regular whole life, I don't know the number, but my death benefit would be a heck of a lot more than $765,000, maybe double or triple. But I don't want to pay for death benefit. I'm not designing this policy to be all death benefit. I'm designing this policy to be used as a machine for the infinite banking concept. And I'll explain why we use whole life in a moment. So I put 30 grand in, I get $765,367, and some of this death benefit is going to be reduced in either the 8th or the 10th year. Because some of this death benefit, and I'll give kudos to Dave Ramsey. Why does he say by term? It's cheap, right? A lot of this $765,000 is supported by term. That's right. But I'm going to drop that term in the 10th year on this policy. I no longer need it. I don't need that term insurance, and I don't want to pay for that term insurance because after that time, the 8th year or the 10th year, I've satisfied the IRS MEC 7-pay rule. You can Google that. MEC, M-E-C, 7-pay rule. Stands for Modified Endowment Contract. But all I wanted you to see is how we design these policies so that you, in this case, me, because this is my policy, maximize the cash value, not the death benefit. Because I've never really met anybody in my life that cares more about the money that somebody gets the day they die, more than they care about the money they have to use today. True or true? So let's go one step further. Let's really dissect the base and the paid up additions. See, I'm a visual guy. I like to explain things in visual ways. So if you don't mind, I'm going to explain it by drawing you a rocket ship. I'm gonna give so that you can get, but I expect something from you. Right now, down below, I need you to subscribe to this channel. And also right above, there's a little bell. Smash that bell so that you can be notified every time we do a new video showing you how to make more money, build more wealth, and take back more control. So subscribe and smash that bell. This rocket is designed to go really fast, meaning we want your money to grow really fast. So when we do that, I want you to think of the main part of the rocket ship as the base. And I want you to think of the paid up additions as the booster rockets. So when a rocket is launched into space, I don't care if you watch SpaceX or you watch any of the other, people launching rockets in space, what happens? The thing blasts off and it shoots really fast into orbit. And once it gets into orbit, what happens to the booster rockets? The booster rockets are removed, aren't they? They fall off. And if you're very smart, like our boy Elon Musk, these booster rockets actually land on a barge in the ocean. Now that's not important for the sake of this, but why don't they keep the keep the booster rockets on when it gets into space? The spaceship would go faster, right? One word, they're not efficient. So our paid up additions rider are designed to get our rocket into orbit as quickly as possible. That is the only goal of these paid up addition booster rockets. Once we're into orbit, these boosters, well, we just don't need them anymore. So we're gonna get rid of them because they burn up too much fuel. They take too much energy away from the main rocket. So the main rocket is what? The base. Now, let me just describe to you how that works in real life. Booster rockets on an actual rocket ship use up a lot of fuel. Paid up additions on your policy use up a lot of term. Because a lot of times to put a ton of money to those paid up additions, we gotta add term. Term insurance, the rider, costs money. So we don't need that. So we're just gonna have those booster rockets disconnect, and we're gonna have those booster rockets, the paid up additions, fall off some point in time in the future. In my case, 10 years, For some of you, we would design it so after the 8th year, when the MEC rules are no longer there, these paid up additions are just gonna not be used and they're gonna fall back to earth, and we're gonna land them on this little barge out here in the middle of the ocean. And you know, we learned that from Elon Musk. Now we've just got the base rocket, but the base rocket is really, really efficient now and goes really fast and doesn't burn as much fuel. You see, these policies are just like a spaceship. But some of the policies are going to have more to base and others are going to have less. 10 to 40% at the most is how we would design your policy. 10% is going to be rare because it's hard to build the policy with 10% going to the paid up additions or 10% going to the base, because we're going to need a lot of term insurance for a long period of time. So I just want you to know, although we do it sometimes, the majority of our policies are going to be 25 to 40% to base, where the balance going to the paid up additions. Just wanted to make sure we're clear on that. So now I just want to take a couple seconds and I want to show you the application of how this policy, the machine, because that's really all this is. It is nothing more than the machine we're going to use to hold our money and move our money through. I want to show you how that works, because now you see how we build them, and now you see why we had to give up our commissions to do it this way, because it's always a give or a get, right? So I have to give so that you get more cash value, as I'm showing in this policy. And every single year I put money into the policy becomes more efficient. Why? Well, it's because the policy is designed to do that. Remember the rocket ship? It gets efficient faster and faster, and it compounds faster and faster, because every single year, your policy, just like mine, will earn guaranteed interest, and it compounds on a daily basis. That guaranteed interest, then next year, all that interest you earned in the prior year is now earning interest. But then at the end of the year, the insurance company pays you a dividend. Again, not guaranteed, but they've done it every year. All the companies we use have paid consecutive dividends each and every year for well in excess of 100 years and never missed one. So they're not going to probably start this year, next year, or anytime in the future. So every year, we're going to pass go with our policy, and that pass go, just like in Monopoly, is a dividend payment. So this is how I would have used this policy, and I use my policies lots of different ways. The first thing I do is I change where my money goes first. To do everything I'm going to show you requires you changing just one thing, and that's where your money goes first, where your savings goes first. So instead of saving money in someone else's bank, I changed one thing, and that's where I put that money into that whole life insurance policy that I showed you. Okay? Then once the money goes there, my goal is not to keep it in the policy where it's earning 5 to 6%. That policy I showed you is earning 6% with dividend. So my goal is not to get excited about this. But that is a heck of a lot better than your bank account. It's a heck of a lot better than your money market. Matter of fact, 5 to 6% is a heck of a lot better than anywhere else you're putting safe or guaranteed money, because this policy has a guaranteed interest rate on it. But I still don't want to keep it there, because you know what? In Monopoly, if all you did is just go around the board just to pass go every time, you'd never win the game. Your idea of Monopoly is not to do that. Your idea is to go around, buy up land, find opportunities, and you know how the game works. I don't need to explain it. So over here are all of your opportunities. And those opportunities can be things like debts, okay? Those opportunities can be cars. Those opportunities can be real estate. I'll just draw that in. We'll show it in a second. That opportunity can be lending. It can be stocks. It can be anything. All of these things that you do, our goal is to move around the board. So let's just picture this is the board, okay? Our money is going to start here. This is go. Go is where your money goes to the policy. It's going to go over here to the opportunities, and then all we want to do is take that money from the opportunities and go back around and make sure that all the money that your money working for you makes ends up back in your bank, okay? Your bank is a specially designed and engineered whole life. BYOB, be your own banker. So that's all we're doing. We're playing Monopoly. So the first thing I would have done here is I would have taken this 30 grand, I would have deposited it into the policy in the form of a premium deposit. The next thing, I would have already identified where I want that money to go. Now that policy, you know where that money went? It went to debts. I had a line of credit, and that line of credit was $23,000. Okay, so I'm just going to use that. My debt was a $23,000 line of credit that I paid 9% to a bank called Key Bank. Now, that's fine. I was making payments of $289 every single month to KeyBank. So I just want to be clear, that was my first opportunity. So here's what I did. I took this 30 grand after it was deposited. Immediately in the first 30 days, I took out $23,000. But the way I took that money out was in the form of a loan. Because when you own a bank, you're going to take loans from your bank. And the reason to take a loan is, can we just do the math? What is 30 minus 23? 7,000, right? So all of you, if you had a bank account and you put $30,000 into your bank account, but then you took $23,000, there'd only be $7,000 left in your bank. And if your bank was paying you 5 to 6%, you'd be earning 5 to 6% on 7,000. We're clear about that, right? Well, we don't play that game. See, the reason we use a specially designed and engineered whole life is because the insurance company promises us two things. First, a guaranteed interest rate, okay? So that's the first promise. And number two, they promise us that someday when we pass away, they will pay a death benefit. If you remember, mine was $734,000-ish. Okay, when we take a loan, this $23,000, we don't take it from our money. What we do is we ask the insurance company to loan us part of our death benefit. So this $23,000 literally doesn't come off of my balance in the policy. That $23,000 is subtracted from my death benefit. So what the insurance company will allow me to do is borrow $23,000 from my death benefit. So now if I died the next day, the insurance company is going to pay the net $711,000, give or take, to my beneficiaries. But I get to use $23,000 immediately. I put 30 in, I get to borrow $23,000. My money never left my account, which means if you really understand this, my money, 30 grand, gets to earn uninterrupted compound interest. My money gets to work for me at a rate of between 5 and 6%, depending on which company we use, uninterrupted. And every year, my money gets to compound higher and higher and faster and faster. And I'm going to show you the numbers from my illustration in just a second, but think about that. You have just tapped into the one thing that the wealthiest families in history have always known. Not only have they known it, the banks, who are the #1 purchasers of specially designed and engineered whole life, look it up, called BOLI, B-O-L-I, bank-owned life insurance. Look it up. They're the #1 purchasers of this stuff because they've understood this for a long time. You are just now learning this. I take that 23 grand. Now, I have made my machine part of the infinite banking concept, because here's what I do. I take that $23,000 loan and I pay off this debt. So no longer do I owe KeyBank $23,000. I paid it off. I no longer owe KeyBank the 9% or the $289 a month that I used to give them. But see, it doesn't stop there. Remember Monopoly, we need to cross go. So what I'm going to do is every month, instead of giving KeyBank $289 a month, I'm going to pay $289 a month back to my policy. I'm going to pay back some of this death benefit the insurance company let me use at a rate of $289 a month, just like I would have paid it off with the bank, except for now I'm the bank. But you know what else is baked into this $289? Well, if you were listening, 9% interest was baked in, because that $23,000 loan that I used to owe to KeyBank, also, they charged me 9% interest. That $289 payment that I used to give to them, now paying to myself, is me recapturing 9% interest. You see, my money just got to make money twice. Now that might confuse you. So let's go through that. So if this insurance company is paying me 6% with dividend, but this insurance company charges me 4% simple interest, I'm making 6% compounded. The insurance company charges me 4% simple interest on the $23,000 loan because they charge me 4%. If we just did the gross math, 6, what I'm making compounding, minus 4, what I'm paying the insurance company to use my death benefit, gives me the fun little thing that banks always understand and always use, called a spread. But the best part is, you're just doing the surface math of 6 minus 4. Every year, my spread goes up. Why? Because my $30,000 keeps earning uninterrupted compound interest, keeps compounding year after year. We'll look at that in a second. But then I'm also taking and making my money work for me. And every single year, the insurance company pays me a dividend. Every single year, that insurance company pays me interest on my money. And every single year, I repay my policy $289, which is not new money, it's money I gave away. Now, how many times do you want to do this? Because once all your debts are gone, well, you can then pay your cars off, which I did. I paid all my cars off, and I pay thousands of dollars back, right? So let's just write one of my car payments, I think it's $1,506 a month. I paid that car off, and I pay $1,506 back to my policy. It's a nice car, just so you know. $1,506 now comes back here, so I'm getting whatever the interest rate on that car was, which I believe the interest rate on the car was like 5.89%. That was back when the Gittins were good. So that 4.89% is now paid back to my policy. Once that car is paid off, what am I going to do? Well, I might buy some real estate. I might lend some money out. When the stock market goes down, I might buy some stocks. All of these are opportunities for my money to keep making more money. But you see, my money keeps getting bigger because every single year I'm going to keep saving money to the tune of $30,000 in this. And every single month, I'm going to keep recapturing all the money that I used to give away, the $289 to the line of credit, the $1,506 for the one car, and I could just keep going and going. You see how fast this can build? But this all only works if we understand how the machine works. And if we understand that me, as the person that builds those specially designed and engineered policies, I have to also understand that I have to give a lot of my commission. In this one, 90% of my commission up so that you have 90% more money to use in your opportunities. This is a game of Monopoly, but it's a game that's real. It's a game you get to play every day if you simply change the way you look at things that you've been told are bad your whole life. So let's take a second and let's go into this policy. I want to actually show it to you, okay? Join me. As I said, at the end of the first year, my death benefit's $765,000, but my cash value is $27,534. I deposited $30,000, which we already concluded that gives you really high early cash value. And then I talked about the base right here, okay, being 40% in this design, and the paid up additions, which here in this one is called LISR, the paid up additions being 60%. So when we actually look at this design, we have to understand that that's how I built it. And it's not the way that maybe we build your policy, but it could be close. So over here, I've reduced the amount of death benefit that I'm buying, which reduced the amount of cost in my policy. I've stuffed the majority of the money, 60% of it, into the paid up additions rider, and because of that, this policy is very efficient. Well, efficient, $30,000 went in, $27,534 was available in the first year. But let's just do some quick math. So I already showed you the first year, but the second year, you'd have more cash value available. And how you do that, you would come over here to non-guaranteed values, total cash value, end year. Now, a lot of people maybe are focusing over here on the guaranteed cash value and saying, well, what is the difference between guaranteed cash value and non-guaranteed? The dividend, silly. Remember earlier I said the dividends are not guaranteed? That's the only difference. And you can see your guaranteed cash value in the first year is $27,235. Your non-guaranteed with the dividend in the first year is $27,534. Not a big difference. How well would you sleep at night knowing that your guaranteed money never goes down? Probably pretty good, right? But as time goes by, we earn interest and we earn dividends every single year. And those interest and dividends in this policy never get interrupted, even if I take all the money out like I showed you that I did. Those interest and dividends now are part of the compounding of the policy. So let's just kind of go fast forward down to year 5. Okay, total cash value, $152,714. That's how much cash value I have in the 5th year. Now, I would never let the money sit there for 5 years. I would have used it each and every year that I had money. I'd make deposits, and then I would take loans and send that money out to work, like remember Monopoly, for opportunities. But let's just assume that in the 5th year, you had $152,714. And we want to figure out what is our return on that money. So what we would do is subtract the 4th year's cash value. So we take the $152,714, subtract the $119,686, okay, right there. So that means that that year, our net growth was $33,028. But we did put $29,900. So let's subtract $29,900 $900 because we can't factor the premium deposit that year into the equation. This gives us our true net growth of the policy. Net of cost of insurance, net of policy service fee, which with this one I think is $50 or $100 per year, net of everything. This is your true take home, and I'm showing you right from the illustration from the insurance company. I made $3,128 from year 4 to year 5. So if I divide that into the amount that I deposited that year, assuming each year I take the money out as I put it in, that gives me a 10.4% cash on cash return. So from year 4 to 5, that year alone, my $29,900 that I deposited to the premiums earned 10.4. Now remember, if I want to take that money out, how much was this insurance company charging me? Well, 4% was the number. So do the math. Every single year I do that, that return will go up because of compound interest. All right, so what I figured I would do now is just show you a commission statement. I've never shown anyone except for my staff my commission statements. But for this insurance company, you can see I had to black out everything because of privacy reasons, but you can see that last name. That's my name. And this just so happens to be my policy. Now I put $30,000 in. The way that I fund this policy's premiums is semi-annually. So if we can just look at that, the commissions are right here. Now there's 3 different commissions. Why? Well, one of them is the term rider, one of them is the paid up additions rider, and then one of them is the base commission. So there's 3 components to how we're paid. Each one is a separate line item. But to get away from all that, all I wanted to do is show you that my total commission on this was $1,154.27. And that is semi-annually. So I make the premium every twice per year. Each time, $1,054.27 is my commission. Now, let's look down here and just focus on what a normal whole life commission would pay. The one that Dave Ramsey talks about, the one your agent's probably talking to you about, or your advisor, or maybe your brother-in-law, like I actually referenced. That might just be you. Well, if it is, here is the commission that that person would make right here. 55% of the base would give a commission of $8,250 semi-annually. But remember, I gave up a lot of that commission by the way that I designed this policy. So the total amount I gave up was 86% in this exact scenario right here, which means that's a difference from what your brother-in-law or your agent would make to what I actually got paid of $7,095.73. You know what that difference is? The amount of money that was available in my cash value that I just showed you. That's right. So I had $7,095 more to use in my policy because, well, this is my policy. I designed the policy to give up that commission in the tune of over $7,095. Now, I wanted to do another scenario, the 90% scenario, right? Because we did 55%, but some agents out there are at a high level. And also IULs, Index Universal Lives. Well, the reason those are one of the most talked about and sold products by financial advisors, agents, and probably your brother-in-law too, it's because they pay like 90% commission. Yeah, that's way better than the whole life's 55, right? 90. So if it was 90% commission, that agent, advisor, or brother-in-law would have made $13,500 for selling you that stupid, terrible IUL policy. Now, we do that against the one that I just showed you, the one that I designed for myself and used for myself. That's $12,345 difference that I would have. So folks, the number one thing I want to really relay here is I gave you the facts. I told you how these are designed. I told you how they're different than a regular whole life. And I also showed you how I use them and how you would be using them as well. If we designed your policy, which I hope to be able to do that, I hope you are one of the new policies that I designed next week. And that's really easy to do. All you got to do is watch the video and schedule a call. It's all there is required to it, and we can design a policy like this. But see, we're not going to just design your policy. That's the first step. But we're also going to teach you how to use it. I've got hundreds and hundreds of videos showing you different uses, different case studies of how you can use your machine. to play the game of Monopoly in your life. But that Monopoly game in your life is called the game of the infinite banking concept, the process that you want to use. And I would help you do that as well. Our team is set up to not only help build the policy, but also then help you move that money around the circle over and over again. So folks, I hope you enjoyed this episode of What Now, What's Next. So hey, if you like this video, check that one out. How to design an IBC policy the right way. We covered some of that ground, but go deep into it by checking that video out. So thanks for joining us for another episode of What Now, What's Next? And this is what's next for you.